No? Alright. Can I have a motion to certify closed session?
Motion to certify closed session.
Second.
Right? Ms. Hutchinson, would you please, read the certification, statement and poll the board?
Whereas the King William County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3712B of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such executive meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the King William County School Board hereby certifies to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements of Virginia law were discussed in the executive meeting to which this certification applies, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the executive meeting were heard, discussed, or considered. Mr. Farmer,
I certify.
Mr. Wassenberg,
I certify.
Ms. Atkins,
I certify.
Ms. Catlett,
Certify.
Ms. Frazier.
I certify. All right. At this time, we'd like to ask, Ms. Hooker, our, student representative of the school board, to please lead us in the school board. Lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
For all who are able, please stand for the pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So at this time, we're up to item number 4 of our agenda. Dr. Wagner and school board members, are there any changes to the agenda for tonight?
Good evening, Madam Chair and Madam Vice Chair and members of the board and our guests that are here this evening. And we appreciate you being here. Folks that might be listening from home, thank you also for tuning in, and to my colleagues that are here from our school division. Good evening. Beautiful afternoon here at Hamilton Homes with the sun shining in, and I really appreciate everybody having an interest in being here this evening. I do have one change to the agenda, Madam Chair. I'd like to move item 5.10 from the consent agenda. The title of that item is approval of facility use, and I'd like to move that item and add that as item 9.4 under superintendent's item. So again, removing 5.1 from the consent agenda,
You mean
turning that into 9.4 under the superintendent's agenda.
10?
Sorry, 5.10, thank you.
Okay.
My math skills.
Sorry, and you said move it to what? 9 point?
9.4 under superintendent's. Thank you very much.
Are there any other changes? Okay, well, I will accept.
I make a motion to approve the agenda changes as presented.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. And that motion passes. We'll keep the agenda with the amendments. Next item is our consent agenda, which is just approval of the consent agenda, next meeting date, approval of the minutes, approval of the payment of bills, review of financial summary, approval of fundraisers, discipline and attendance, enrollment, field trip, and several other items.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. And the consent agenda is approved. So now we move to item number 6 of our agenda for tonight, which is a King William County Public Schools spotlight. And up first is our readiness program.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm trying to get there we go. Mrs. Langford from the high school has joined us this evening to provide some recognition for the VSBA Workforce Readiness Month, and she's got some guests with her this evening. So, Ms. Langford, thanks so much for being here, and the podium is yours.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. April is recognized as the VSBA Workforce Readiness Month. So I wanted to start out with just reading you guys the proclamation that the Board of Directors from the VSBA has recognized. So whereas workforce readiness is essential to developing skill set for students in Virginia's public schools to be successful beyond high school graduation, and whereas the demand for highly skilled jobs over the next decade in Virginia will continue to increase and can be filled by qualified public school students. And whereas we recognize increased collaboration with businesses and industry, the community college system and the core school setting is necessary. And whereas the promise of public education is for every child to be successful in school and life. And whereas it is important for Virginia families, students, teachers, and school administrators to be actively engaged in supporting the importance of workforce readiness as part of the educational experience. And whereas we recognize that limited funding, resources, facilities, partnerships, and qualified CP staff impedes students' access to workforce readiness opportunities. And whereas the VSBA has established a task force on workforce readiness to make recommendations and to stay at the forefront of our discussions in Virginia schools. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the Virginia School Boards Association recognizes the month of April 2025 as VSBA Workforce Readiness Month, and April 16th, 2025 as VSBA Workforce Readiness Day, with the intention to advocate and increase awareness about the supports necessary to promote workforce development opportunities that enable students to be prepared to succeed in a global economy. So what I would like to share with you guys today is what we do in King William County Public Schools to help prepare our students to be workforce ready, because we have adopted many, many things that is in this proclamation that we're already doing to help prepare our students. So these are our current courses offered at the high school. Just like the proclamation, we are aiming to have programs that are preparing students for high demand, high wage jobs as soon as they come out of high school. So starting in the middle school, preparing students with a business background, engineering, design, modeling, robotics. It is required in the state that students in that middle school have a career investigations class that introduces them to all of the careers and all of the different career clusters and pathways available to them. And then in the high school, we really hone in on trying to get those students prepared for whatever it is that they're preparing to go to when they leave high school. So whether it be agriculture, business, photography, something in the medical field, Teachers for Tomorrow, economics and personal finance is also a required class in the high school. So that's something that every student takes when they come through the school. And then welding and cosmetology as well. So new courses that we are adding in next year to add to our package for students even a larger variety of classes to take and opportunities to become completers and take those certification exams. Turf grass, social and digital media, marketing, introduction to health and medical science, and career, community, and family connections. So the introduction to health and medical science we're really excited about. A lot of our students in the high school are interested in a health and medical science career. So that course is aimed at our 10th graders to help prepare them for whether they want to go onto the sports medicine side of things, or if they want to branch off and head to bridging communities and do a pharmacy tech or a nurse aid classes. So that is something new that we're very, very excited about for next year. So February was the month. So we recognized all of our CTE programs in February and our teachers as well. So tonight I do have some of our CTE teachers with us. Mr. Broadus, he teaches our career investigations course at the middle school. And then Ms. York, who teaches our marketing courses at the high school, as well as oversees our co-op program at the high school. So those students that are leaving school to go out and work in the workforce in a job that's preparing them for whatever their pathway is after high school, she oversees that program. And then Mr. Broadus, with the career investigations course, he does a wonderful job on bringing the industries into the classroom so that students in the middle school are introduced to these things and can see what are things out there and what pathway they might head to when they leave the middle school and start courses at the high school. So I do want to recognize them too while they're here tonight, because our teachers play a great role in preparing our students for the workforce and teaching them those soft skills that they're going to need when they leave high school and enter whatever career, education, whatever their pathway is after. So Ms. York, Mr. Broadus, thank you guys. We couldn't do it here without you guys. We do have an upcoming CTE 3E Ready Fair. This is something that we do every year, but we kind of transformed this from years in the past. This year it's called a 3E Ready Fair to prepare students whether they're heading to employment, enrollment, or enlistment graduation. So it's no longer just preparing them for careers, but preparing them for whatever path they're going to take. So it's next week, April 23rd. We have currently, when I left school today, we had 33 organizations signed up to participate in this. So it's going to be an awesome event. A lot of hands-on activities as well. So one thing we're really big on at the high school right now is doing those hands-on activities. So there will be a photography station set up for students and employers to take advantage of doing professional headshots with our commercial photography students. We'll have the Sphero robots that were donated to the district there for students to use. We'll also have our virtual welders that we have for students up and running so that they can actually get that hands-on experience while they're at the fair. So I invite you guys to come to that. Still have a few tables left if you or anybody wants to come and be represented there and talk to our students about what pathways are available for them after high school. And this I've really transformed because it's not just about we have these job openings that we want to fill, but we want these organizations to come out and actually teach the students what they do. And show the students what are the opportunities for them there. So that's the big push this year is I don't want you just to come and tell my students what jobs are open, but I want you to come and tell them what a career looks like in your field. So we're really working hard on that. And in my opinion, it's just as important to show them every opportunity that's out there so that not only they can see what they might be interested in, but weed some things out that they thought they might be interested in. So that's really important. So some of the things that we are doing, I mentioned Ms. Short's co-op program, but all of our CT teachers have done a wonderful job in helping us prepare students for leaving the classroom by integrating these work-based learning experiences into their curriculum and into their classroom. So students that are in the classroom, they're completing mentorships, they're completing co-op programs, they're completing externships. They all have these hours required. The student that's getting credit for a co-op program, not only are they attending school, sometimes has a full course load, but they're also working a minimum 280 hours in a workplace to get that co-op credit. So not only are they taking classes, they're enrolled in CTE classes that match their pathway, but then they have that additional co-op class that they're actually leaving and going to work. And that employer is talking to us and giving us feedback to know what we need to teach and what programs we need to even better prepare them for the workforce. And then all of these things are things we're working towards, but two of the ones we really try to push for our students are mentorships and co-op because they both give the student an actual class credit for their work. They turn in their hours, their employer signs off on it, the employer gives us feedback to work with them on. So we feel that that's super important when we're preparing our students. And I did want to just recognize two of our employers tonight. They were not able to be here, but we've worked a lot with Nestle Purina. They have come in. We are our shop space this summer, and they've come in, and we're going to work with them to bring in some mobile things to help our students. With their plant right here, students have to be 18 to actually go there. So they have to be view. So we've been working with them to try to build some experiences for our students in the high school so that they don't even have to leave. So they're working with RCC, we're working with them, trying to build that partnership. They are all supportive of our 3E things, so they're coming to the 3E fair next week. So that's one I wanted to kind of highlight. And then another one is Schumerhorn Electric. They're a local company right in Manquin. We don't have an electrical program in the high school right now. So as a student that was interested in electrical, we reached out to them and worked with them to create a co-op experience. And that student is working with them, has over 500 hours from back in August now. And they have really done well partnering with us and trying to show us what they are looking for in an employee, and that's really important to us because we need to know that. So they are ready to have another student next year, and potentially building that partnership even more than just one student. So those are just two employers that we currently work with that are very helpful to us, and really help us prepare our students for the workforce. So that's all I had. I'm welcome to take any questions you guys have. Thank you for your support in workforce readiness, and we're doing big things with the high school to help prepare our students.
I don't have any questions, but I appreciate all of your hard work. I mean, all the high school kids rave about you and the programs, so good job. I'm proud.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Langford. And thanks to our teachers that are here too. Appreciate y'all coming out.
Yes, thank you for coming. Okay. If we move right along, our next item on our agenda is item 6.2, proposal of the local special education annual plan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And as Mrs. Waldron makes her way to the podium, we're required by Code of Virginia to bring before the board for approval an annual plan for special education that details the school division's programs and its intent to spend the grant money that we receive to support students with disabilities. And from the budget perspective, these are funds 611B and 619, and there's some information in the slide deck that Ms. Waldron will share with you. But I'm going to turn the podium over to her now, too.
I know this is the highlight of the evening also because it is the annual plan. So, sorry about that. I could stand on my tippy. Can you hear me now?
Can.
I'm not going to read all this. And in essence, this is what Dr. Wagner just spoke about, that all state-operated public schools, the schools, deaf and blind, we all have to submit an annual plan each year. And that is all based off of our December 1 child count. So if you see Tricia Butler and I acting a little crazy during the month of November, that is the reason why, because we have to account for all of our special needs students to make sure their services are in place and all their related services are in place. And then when we submit that count, that helps us gather funds from the state so that we can make sure we have the services in place for our students. That's basically what all that says right there. And we have to do it. We cannot skip out on it. December 1 is very important. We have, if there's any mistakes, we have until 2 weeks later to get everything corrected and then send it back in. So just a little bit of information about some of the things that our teachers and our administrators we've been working on. this year when we are implementing services. One thing that we're very proud about that we have started our SEAC up again. And we had taken this plan to them last month because they have to approve it. And that comes to you in the month of April, and we will ask for your consent. And then Dr. Wagner and I have to sign off on it, and then it has to be submitted to the state on or before May the 9th. And that's just making sure that all our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed. Medicaid billing was something we started new this year. We are very proud of that. We worked very hard with Ms. Longus before she left us, and we will continue to work hard. So our quarter 1 billing that we received back was $12,923, which is pretty doggone good for just having started it this year. Next year, we're going to add in our nursing services and possibly some of our special transportation needs that we have. We also are implementing our crisis intervention plan, which our administrators have been trained in, and we're going to finish on Thursday our second round for our teachers, regular ed and special ed teachers, so that they are prepared. And then we'll work through the summer to get our paraprofessionals, bus drivers, and whomever else can be trained so that we are ready for our de-escalation for any student that might need it. We are partnering with ECU, Region 3 Autism. There are 6 districts in Region 3 that have become part of this, and we will have in classroom, in 2 classrooms, one at Cool Spring and one at Clinton, that we will be working with them, developing not only skills for the teachers, but how to better implement programs for our students with autism and intellectual disabilities. And we are continuing to upgrade our Virginia IEP. And we also have our Region 3 traumatic brain injury team that we work with our school nurses and our athletic director and sports trainer at the high school to make sure that our students are well taken care of if they go through the concussion protocol. So our 611B funds, projection for the 25 school year is $53,154, and that supports our 7 full-time teachers in special education. That's their salaries and benefits. Make sure they're going to be able to deliver our students with disabilities their needs and make sure that their academics are covered. Our 619 funds also work to support our preschool special education assistant in the classroom setting. And that is the annual plan in a nutshell. Those funds come from our December non-child count, so that's why that's so important. Do you have any questions?
Just to clarify, the estimated amount was $536,000. So that's okay. You and I have each missed a digit tonight, so we're.
We have increased well, in 2021-22, we received $468,239. So we have increased because our special ed population has increased, and that's why it's so important for that December child count to be accurate.
No, I'll make a motion to approve the special education annual plan.
Second.
So moved and properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. And it is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And next, we have our Indian Education Formula Grant.
And Ms. Davis is here. Dr. Bassett was unable to join us this evening, so Ms. Davis has the baton, and she also has the podium. So thanks for being here, and I appreciate our special guests here too.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to give you a quick information on the Indian Education Formula Grant. The purpose of this grant provides funding to support our local education agencies, LEAs, in improving elementary and secondary school programs that serve our Indian students. The primary goal is to help students meet challenging academic standards while supporting their cultural identity and educational success. So our annual plan development, we submit a comprehensive plan to the U.S. Department of Education. This plan is created in collaboration with our Indian Education Advisory Committee, which includes parents of Indian children and our 2 million staff. The plan includes clearly defined student performance goals, a description of professional development activities, and an explanation of how student progress will be measured. A plan for reporting results to the parent committee, the Indian community, and the tribes served by the division. So tonight we want to share a little bit about how these funds will be used to support our students. So total in grant funding is $20,000 and $20,325. This includes $9,822 that will be carried over from the 2024-2025 budget. So our grant objectives will focus on three main goals, which is increasing academic achievement among our Indian students, enhancing problem solving and cognitive development, directly supporting state standards, and expanding our Native American language instruction programs. Our budget allocation is broken down into three main areas. We have personnel at $4,400, which supports Mrs. Madison and our after-school programming. It also helps us support and provide a school nurse to assist with student medical needs during these activities that are held on school grounds. We also have $12,303 dedicated to supplies to support the programming. So we have after-school program resources, math manipulatives for classrooms, tantrums for cultural activities, high school books that will be provided to students that are by Native American authors, and expansion of our classroom libraries to have more diverse and inclusive texts. And then we have $3,622 set aside to help fund guest speakers that will support professional development for our staff. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Sanick, and he's going to share a little bit more about what our committee and our program has done so far this year.
Perfect.
Yo mentioned partnership with Philippines, Tony Stock. I said, well, we're here. My name is Martin from the Martin Shepherd family, and I'm from the Stony Person County, North Carolina, Halifax, Virginia. Currently, I live here in Live, very clearly. I am the father to three students, one at Wolford, one at Quinn, and one here at Hamilton Homes, and I am a native uncle to a lot of the entities here as well. I currently am employed by the tribe as the Cultural Environmental Resource Specialist. I have a background in museums for over 15 years, including the Jamestown Worktown Foundation, the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation, and the National Museum of the American Indian in DC. This is my first year here in the school district. Me and my family moved here not long after I got the job at and this is the first district we've been in that has had a Title VI Indian education program because it had a large population of Indian students to actually get the funding. Their previous district just did not have enough Indian students to support the funding. I have a big background or a large background in cultural activities in my own community and Native communities throughout Virginia. And so when I heard about this opportunity, I threw myself into it kind of full force. We initially had E3, our first activity. Myself and another community member, father, came, we met with students at each of the schools. We had 19 students meet us at Cool Springs from all different age groups. We had
Want to help out? Yeah.
There we go. This is us meeting with kids. In total, there are 79 students throughout the school district that are enrolled. We found in our talks with Dr. Bassett that there were several automatic students that because of the way their enrollment forms were filled out in the school district were not included. We made attempts to correct that within our own tribal community and reached out to Pamunkey and Rappahannock who have, and Mattapan as well, who have a contingent of students to say, hey, reach out to the citizens, make sure they're being included because that changes kind of the funding that we're at for this program. Our next event that we did was our beekeeping event, our hive keeping event. I was not in town for this, but our environmental department came So at Vermetta High, we were kind of bringing hives this year. The kids learned about bees. They learned to do a waggle dance. That is a dance where the bees will tell you the direction the food is in. So the bees will kind of vibrate, and the faster they vibrate, or the more they vibrate, the further distance from the hive the food source is, and then the direction that they go is the direction from. So we taught them that dance. Then we broke them up into their egos, because of course bees are women and queens. They're major societies, much like native societies from the East Coast. They pick the name for their queen, the name for their queendom, and then we separate into hives. We are just starting to blow those hives up and getting new queens this year to actually go. And we're going to be sending pictures back, videos back, and then inviting kids this summer to come and actually view the hives. We're getting some tiny keeper students. So it wouldn't be something that the school would be participating in, but it's something we're welcoming the native students from around this local community come to do. So you can see them all here. One of my kids was in the picture there. They had a lot of fun. They learned a lot, and it's a really good experience. They, at the meet and greet, they were really shocked just how many other Native students are in the school. Some of them were friends and didn't realize that they were, in fact, Native and enrolled. And that's because of our kind of rich history, tri-racial people here in Virginia, where we may present as Indian, we may present as African American, we may present as white, but we're still all members of our community. So I think for all these kids to see all these different kids in their classrooms, they can walk by the hallway, they can say hi to each other at lunch. It builds that strength, it builds that community. And as an Indian kid who went to school in Newport News, I was the only Indian in my high school. It was a really lonely experience, and now none of those kids have to have that experience. They get to feel a part of their community at school and their tribal communities. The next event we had, there we go. The next we had, I led the social dancing. So how I explained it to the kids is it's kind of like the cha-cha slide, where I'm dating myself here, the Macarena. I've been doing that in elementary school. They lined us all up on that blacktop, and we all did it together. There's songs that bring communities together. There's songs that have been around in some cases for hundreds and hundreds of years, and they're treated on the East Coast. You've got alligator dance that folks in New York do, and if you've ever been to New York, aside from the sewers, there's no alligators. So these dances are traded. We did one for my community, pigeon dance, and that's to recognize the contributions of passenger pigeons, this historically large bird, migrating flocks large enough that they would break limbs off the trees that they would roost in. And then we did another one, which is round dance, which is something you can see at Upper Medical Cow. It's friendship dance. It's something that's kind of a more modern social dance. We also got coloring books for them that talk about the different people that you can see in Powers, the MC, the head staff, the different types of dancers. One of our coworkers, Lana, she actually created a word search for them to find different terms in that coloring book. The most recent one, or the one we're doing this month, so we don't have any photos of that yet. We're doing shinning. So shinning is a traditional sports game for this area. It's one of the earliest games that were reported by the English. So we've got a shinning ball here. Shinning is described by the English as kind of like a hockey. There's a curved stick. There's a ball. This is a modern ball. The English just say the balls are made of leather. They're not overly restrictive, but it's a game that's been revitalized in the last year. Starting out from Madison, I would play almost every Sunday, and so we're bringing it to the school kids. And then hopes at one point, maybe when a lot of these kids move on to high school, maybe we can get them to some sort of club, because I know that's how a lot of this interview sports start. You start at the club, and then it grows out and you have an official team. The last event we're looking to do, and we're still in the planning stages, is kind of a closure event for the end of the year. I've seen in other schools and colleges where you have kind of an event in the drum out. You congratulate the kids on congratulating completing their educational experience here, whether that's completion of high school or whether that's going on to fourth grade, fifth grade, whatever it is, just acknowledge that. I think those are really important events because when we look at the demographic, Indian children are very much behind on a national level in the demographics. Looking at the information that we were given by Dr. Bassett here, being encouraged very much on par. And I think these programs like this that allow the things we're looking forward to doing next year is we're going to also offer after school tutoring specifically for Indian kids, and in partnership with the after school tutoring programs that already exist. And so that's one of the things we have kind of talked with Dr. Bassett and Crystal about. The staff this year, there was a lot of folks who were new to the district who have come in and who are involved as parents. And we want to kind of plan better for the upcoming year, how the funds are going to be spent, how we're going to bring people in. I'm supplying Dr. Bassett with a list of books for high school and down that are written by Native authors, whether they are historical, whether they are fantasy, or whether they're kind of language-based books and games and things like that. Are there any questions from the board?
I think that sounds great.
I love it.
Yes.
Mr. Seneca, you were going to ask our board members to demonstrate that hive dance. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. I think you said when we talked, you said you were going to demonstrate yours.
I do make that. That's terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
And we
much.
appreciate, Mrs. Madison and your fellow citizens that are part of the committee. I will say that the level of interest among our participants on the committee is very high, and we appreciate that very much. This is the kind of stuff that makes a difference in kids' lives. So thank you. Thanks for being here too, very much.
All right. Well, I will make a motion to approve the program and grant.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The a grant gets approved. Looking forward to all the good things that we'll cover next year. All right, if we're moving right along to item number 7, it is our citizens comment period. We have no citizens who have signed up desiring to speak this evening. I'm looking out and I don't see anybody jumping up and said, oh, I forgot to sign. So maybe no one wants to speak tonight. So we will move right along, if that's okay, to item number 8, which is our report that we look forward to every night, every school board night. And that's our report from our student advisory committee, from our student school board rep. Good evening again, Ms. Hooker.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
So first thing I have for you guys are a few upcoming events. So first is the KWCPS Art Show, which is this Thursday at the high school from 5 to 8. And it's going to be a great event showcasing everyone's talents. So I encourage you all to stop by and check it out. Next, as Ms. Langford talked about, the 3E Ready Fair is next Wednesday. And I think this will be a great event for students to talk to future employers and other organizations and do some more hands-on activities. And then prom is coming up on May 3rd, and the junior SCA members have been working really hard to plan it, and everyone is getting super excited for that event. And then with prom, there will be a prom/SOL prep spirit week leading up to prom to kind of get everybody excited for prom, as well as encouragement as we all are taking SOLs this time of year. And then senior SCA has planned a senior spirit week for the seniors' last full week of school to kind of send them off their last high school in a fun way, as well as a senior sunset, which would be May 13th, which is just kind of one last gathering for the senior class to come together. So those are all the upcoming events I have for you all. And then for feedback this month, I sent out a form this week about the new Open Gate security system, which I believe is starting tomorrow morning at the high school. And I asked questions about what students thought, if they thought it was going to make the school more safe, if they thought it was a good addition, if they think it will make themselves more safe, and any concerns they have. I didn't get any responses in their life, like not a lot of people jumped at feedback, but I didn't want to bring down the feedback that I did receive. So if percentages go, over 50% of people that responded do not think it's a good addition to the school, and then over 50% think that it will not make the school more safe, and then around 40% said that it will likely make them personally feel more safe. And then the concerns will explain the percentages. So the main concerns I have are that it will cause students to be late to class. That's something people are worried about. And then waiting in a long line to get into school, and how quickly will they be able to get inside once we get to the doors. And then the system will go off and alarm over normal things and create embarrassment and anxiety over that. and then getting used to like what is going to go off, what they're going to have to take out of their backpacks, because I think it's a change that everybody will have to get used to. And then the system possibly not catching the things it's supposed to catch. And then a lot of the responses, when they said that they did not think it was more safe, I asked why or why do you feel that way? And it said that they just kind of said they don't think it'll make a difference either way. And then I had a few comments that said it made them feel more restricted or as if they had less freedom. So that was the feedback I got from that form. And then I plan to send another one out once we've had it for a week or two, and then bring that feedback to you guys next meeting so you can kind of see if there's going to change and like how the think it's going, the improvements and things like that. But that's what I'm you guys.
Thank you.
I like your form. I'm waiting to see what the results will say
Yes, I'm very curious. So
Next month.
yep, we'll see next month. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving right along, we're moving to item number 9, our superintendent's update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight we have Mr. Terry from the county who is back. You might recall a few short days ago, or a week and a half or so ago, Mr. Terry made a presentation to the board for you to consider the installation of a weather station at King William High School. We have some questions that he has been kind enough to pursue for us, and he's here to share that information. He also has been working with Mr. Stone to see if we can't solidify some plans for this. And so, Mr. Terry, thanks for coming back, and we'll turn the podium over to you.
Absolutely. So the board had 4 questions for me last week, and I addressed those in a memo to Dr. Wagner. The first of which was installation and how we can keep the station upright. Terry provides 400 pounds of cinder blocks in order to keep the station in its place. They do recommend the roof mount over a pole mount, as I mentioned in the last presentation. Second was power. We do have the option of going with solar power or direct power. If we choose direct power, we do have to provide the electrician in order to make that connection. But either way, it still comes with a battery backup, as we mentioned last week. Third, the stations do come with a cellular VPN of their own. We do not have to have a connection to the Wi-Fi of the school. And finally, any recalibration and diagnostic tests are done virtually by Perry Weather themselves. But if we need to make any changes, this is where Dr. Wagner and I have been talking about an MOA between the county and the schools. That will be in progress. I spoke with the attorney. We will have that going on Thursday after I meet with them, hopefully with a positive word from you all this evening. So any further questions from the board before I move forward?
I do. So, and I think Tony might be able to help answer this. So, with the 400 pounds of center block, will our roof be able to? Okay. And then if we chose to mount it, I mean, just in general, like you would have to screw that into the roof, correct?
No.
Perfect. Okay. Good. Okay. No concerns for me then.
And then as far as the solar, is it going to have a battery? Because obviously it's bad. We don't have all the sun.
So whether we go with solar power or with direct power, both will have a battery backup.
Any more questions or concerns?
No, I make a motion to approve the weather station at King William High School.
Second.
So moved and properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. And it passes. We have a weather station.
Thank you, Mr. Terry, and we'll look forward to receiving the MOA, and that's something that the board will get a chance to review as well. So, thank you.
You can't leave.
No, you can't leave us yet. Come on, Mr. Case.
Would you like me to move on, Madam Chair?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, so the second item this evening is the strategic plan update for Goal 4. And as you have experienced over the last half a year or certainly since the fall, we have been sharing strategic plan updates with the school board, and we've already finished goals 1, 2, and 3. And so we'd like to share some progress on goal 4. And Ms. Davis is here to help facilitate this conversation too. So thanks. Okay. Ready? Yeah, I'll just do it from the chair. So just to give us a little bit of context and background, back in September, the board began to explore the division's new strategic plan. And then tonight, we're going to continue that by highlighting some progress made in goal 4, as well as current performance made toward fulfillment of each of the smaller objectives. Okay.
I have the power to click, Dr. Wagner.
I'm sorry?
I have the power to click.
So yeah, I'm trying to look at who am I looking at to click? Got
Give
it.
me.
Okay, I will. Okay, so just to remind our public of what goal 4 is, and I think that's on the next slide. Thank you. Goal 4 is to cultivate strong connections among schools, families, and the community to broaden opportunities for student learning, development, and growth. And measurable outcomes that we have identified for goal 4, and certainly open to some conversation here among the board if you have any comments about these, but please feel free. But by the end of the 25-26 school year, so this would be by the end of next school year, the school division will increase community engagement through community events, committees, and surveys. And even as one example this evening with our colleagues on the Indian Education Partnership Committee, you can see that we're in earnest reaching out and trying to create some community partnerships. So that's the first measurable outcome. The second measurable outcome, by the end of the 25-26 academic year, the school division will establish or enhance partnerships with at least 3 community organizations to provide additional resources, mentorship programs, or learning opportunities that support student development and growth. And I think another example is what Mrs. Langford shared with you about our efforts to work with Nestle Purina and some opportunities for kids there. So we think 2 notable measurable outcomes, and I think that we'll continue to grow on some of the evidence to suggest that we are fulfilling these. But let me pause there and see if any board members have any questions about these performance outcomes.
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you. Let's look at some more specific progress toward goal 4 that we believe we have been able to fulfill so far this school year. You ready for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over. Once I get started, I can't stop. So Ms. Davis, thanks for pulling the cord. Okay.
So objective 4.1 talks about how we will expand our family, staff, and community engagement. So we kind of broke it down and reached out to our building level administrators to give us some feedback on what they've been doing within their schools. So you'll see a breakdown of elementary, and that would include Cool Spring Primary and Quinton Elementary, and then we also have secondary. So just some examples of ways that we are trying to increase our family engagement opportunities. We had a fall community conversation regarding reading. There's been a lot of new reading changes with our elementary students, and we wanted to provide an opportunity to share what the data means for our parents that they receive getting home, what our programming looks like. So that occurred in this fall. They also had a special trunk or treat with a Quinton Elementary Stew with Santa at Cool Spring. And currently they are having their spring fling as we speak happening right now at a Quinton Elementary School. And that is a food drive connected to a school-wide event. However, they're also celebrating their house systems. There's a lot of things that they are doing, and some of these things are school-specific. However, some of these events have really been to connect both elementary schools, which we appreciate, to build that community amongst our elementary students. We've also worked hard to provide volunteer opportunities within the schools, so that could be a vendor at our school-wide events and or help with lunches whenever we have a special teacher lunch, and parents to come in to help provide that lunch coverage. At the secondary level, the board has held principal advisory meetings for families. We have shared updates with parents, and then we have planned a parent resource night on March 13th at the middle school level, and then we continue to increase our athletics and school events at the secondary level. Moving on to 4.2, which is all about communication and engaging families through stakeholder advocacy. So at the division level, the things that we have done was really try to increase our social media presence, especially through our Facebook. We try to acknowledge special days and staff for their accomplishments. We try to provide updates to families using that platform as well. Our school administrators provide weekly updates for staff and their families, but also our staff members share their classroom updates and or classroom updates with families. We have the parent portal, Canvas. We also did a DOE staff permit survey in February, which allows our staff to provide feedback on their climate and culture, and that's something that will be shared with us as a division leadership team as ways that we can continue to support our building level teachers and administrators and what they're doing. And then we also shared feedback with our stakeholders on our division logos. So I think Dr. Wagner will share a little bit more about that soon. And then tomorrow we have our open gate starting, and Ms. Lord has done a fantastic job of communicating that with the community. So we're very excited at the progress we're making towards this objective. The last objective that we have is 4.3, which is to continue to build sustainable partnerships within the community. And there are quite a few partnerships that we have. As I began to dig into this, I learned a lot myself. And so one of the ones that we have highlighted a few here, but one of the ones that that I worked with Ms. Waldron on was our FACT committee, which is a family assessment and planning team. And these are a group of professionals that work together to support youth who are in need, and our division is a part of that committee. We also have CPMT, which is our community police management team, which is developed by our comprehensive services for at-risk youth. And so that's another way that we are supporting the community. We also partner with UNIT on our food recycling, which is a program that is near and dear to Ms. Harris's heart. So we are excited for that partnership there. And at the school level partnerships, we have a variety. Our high school students have practicum hours. We also help support our community colleges with that, so they have a chance to be within our schools at Cold Spring and AES for Teachers for Tomorrow. King's Kids highlights students selected by both elementary resource teams to highlight a student of the month. So it's one boy and one girl from each grade level. We also partner with multiple churches and community organizations and donations and supporting our students. So we have some really wonderful partnerships here, and our goal is to continue and enhance those partnerships as we continue to make progress towards our strategic plan. Is there anything else you would like to add, Dr. Wagner?
Just that these are examples of things that we have done and that we continue to fulfill, but it's certainly by no means inclusive of all of the efforts of the school division. Just wanted to share with the board and with the public that it's really important to me, and I know to our leadership team, to be driven by our strategic plan and to make sure that we keep this visible and forward-facing, and that it helps to guide the work that we do, because ultimately this is the school board's plan, but it's also the community's plan for the school division. So really appreciate everybody's work to help us fulfill our strategic goals. So happy to answer any questions or take any comments if board members have them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I have the third item as well, which is a very brief logo tagline update. So I'll ask Mr. Chapman if he'll run through some of these slides for us. But we have shared an opportunity for our staff to provide feedback, and next is an opportunity for our community to provide feedback, and that will go out to our school community tomorrow. But I wanted to share with you where we are today with with our staff feedback. And you may recall that we shared this at our last work session. I told you I'd come back and give you a brief update. So, Mr. Chapman, if you'll go, very good. Thank you. So it looks like 139 or so responses from staff members across the division. The blue area that you see is predominantly teachers, the instructional staff, but I think overall a pretty reasonable representation from all staff members or from all staff member groups. Okay. Participation 2, or this graph rather, shows the distribution across the school division. So that would be across the 4 schools and the other departments. So again, I think a pretty representative participation statistic there. The third slide, one of the areas where we had asked for feedback was on our taglines, and you might remember that we had 5 taglines, and it looks like the top 2 so far from staff are, the first one is well, I won't read it to you because I think that's on the next slide. The areas that are red are the taglines that received the highest ratings so far. So I have a slide that can share with you what those. You can go to number 4. So we asked our staff to select their top tagline and then their second choice. And so it's clear in either selection that 2 of the 5 were the most frequently selected. And then this slide that shows the top 2. The first one was engage, educate, empower, with 89 responses. And then the second one was educate, empower, and succeed, with 73. So that's where our staff have landed right now. It's like engage, educate, empower from the staff perspective is the top. So I'll pause and just remind folks that are listening from home, we're going to send the survey out to the school community tomorrow and invite feedback, between now and the end of the week. But I wanted to pause and see if our board members had any questions or comments. And did these taglines align with your choices?
One of them.
Yeah.
Do you want, just for the people who came tonight, do you want to tell them what the colors?
Sure. Yeah. So, Mr. Chapman, if you wouldn't mind going back for folks that haven't seen it. On the left-hand side is essentially the primary graphic. And in some of the feedback we received, KW was kind of the theme that resounded, that folks, really wanted to keep KW as one of the most visible features of the graphic. And then we have 4 nested crescents. And what those crescents mean is there's one for the color of each school. So the high school is gold and black. Hamilton Holmes is that royal blue. And then the third smallest crescent is a Quinton, which, its primary school color is green. And then the teal blue, which is the small one right under the KW, is for Cool Spring. So we have color representation from each of our 4 schools, but there's also some symbolic representation. And the 2 blue colors represent the 2 rivers that flag the county. And the green between the 2 blue rivers represents farmland and forest land. And then the gold represents harvest and sunrise or sunset, or maybe more simply just the sun. So we've got some literal representation of school colors, but also some symbolic representation as well. And then the nested crescents kind of, portrays a sense of community. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. And did you notice, Mr. Chapman, do you mind going back to the title slide? Did you notice that we inserted the logo at the top of that? So it kind of has a nice little look to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential for this as we move forward. So next time we see one another, I'll have some community feedback for you as well, and then we'll be ready to, to hammer the nail in on this and move forward. So thanks. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Okay, onward we move. So the fourth item, 9.4, was the agenda modification. And I wanted to have some open dialogue on the 4 facility use requests that we had. There's one specific request was for facility use from Dawn School of Dance. And I shared with you a request from one of the individuals, for some additional consideration regarding that facility use. But I thought what I might do is invite Mrs. Hutcherson to also weigh in, and she and I can share the microphone on all of the sort of the nature of all 4 requests. I think 3 are relatively straightforward because they involve either a school group or something like that. But I think it's the request from Dawn School of Dance that probably needs to be discussed here in open session to get some feedback from the board on what that specific consideration might be.
So the ones you guys have in front of you are the updated ones. It's a little bit different than that one is because there were times that were sent that they didn't need the full time. So what I put in front of you guys is the revised version along with the request for consideration in the third sheet that's in your little packet. So really, I just am here to answer any questions you guys may have about it. If you've had a chance to look over it.
Does everybody not speak at one time? Anybody have a comment or thought?
The letter here says that this is a nonprofit organization. Have we figured out how they qualify?
They have not turned in that information. We do have other people that do rent out that have filled out that 501c, and so the charges have been accordingly. But from what I can understand, they are a for-profit business. And of course, as you guys know, the policy has all that information in it and shares that they should be going over and filling out accordingly. I will express to you that last year when we made this change in March of 2024, they were using it. They had spent in to use it, and we explained them that we were not going to charge them because it was a new policy that would be fair to them. But next time we would have to follow the guidelines that we are for everyone. So that is kind of what I've been doing in this situation.
And just to clarify, for the items that were in consent, they were all 4 grouped together as one item. And so we pulled this out so that we could sort of parse it out. But maybe just to, for the public interest, the other 3 are a request by the marching band to use the high school parking lot, and we want to make sure. Are there any conflicts with those dates? Okay, so
one that
Yes, they already taken care. They're going to do a different time, but that was different. Her allocation now, and she's got it scheduled, so we won't have a lot of that. You are good.
a second request was from the Education Foundation, and that is a 501c3. That group just uses the conference room here. I'm a part of that committee, so it's really an extension of my school day, but nonetheless, we request that group put out a facility use request. So it's fairly straightforward. There's really no use other than a conference room. The third request was from I think
It's,
VDOT,
so it's done through the county, but it's the BPOE, it's something that they have to,
a public hearing.
yeah, it's a public
Essentially, yeah.
hearing that they asked if we went through the county, could we, go through that route? So if we agree to that, then, schedule that.
So actually, yeah, actually, it's VDOT. It's the department. Yeah,
VDOT.
VDOT. It's a no, no, it says VDOT. That's okay.
It's
Yeah, it's a public hearing, and they're required to have them. It's a governmental agency, and so I think the school division has an obligation to help facilitate that. And then the last one then is the one that you had received the special consideration from Dawn's Advance.
So Amber, Revival used this building, and we waived the fee based on the nonprofits.
For the 501c, so what we,
They are charged something for something.
yes, so the 501c waives for the space. So for that cafeteria, that is allowed to waive, but we can't waive the personnel.
Right.
So all they pay is personnel for the time that they're in there.
Chairs or any of the other rental.
They use the cafeteria, so I think they're just sitting at fees.
Okay.
And, the person that does the meetings, I think he just, Tony can speak to it, I think he might just set them down and then pick up, but I think they kind of do their own thing and set everything out in there.
Yeah, he opens up, he unlocks, he cleans up after they're done, cleans restrooms, stuff like that.
And that's what we're paying for him, and somebody on site that's our employee. And that is an additional charge that would have made it much bigger because of the amount of hours and it being personnel. We have to be able to pay somebody to take that time.
So because this is a student dance company with Dawn, is that why they're saying it's nonprofit, because they don't charge to come in?
Well, if they charge to come in, we would also have a different discussion because
Right.
there are certain rules about it if you charge.
So it is, they do not charge for them to come in.
They do not.
So, go ahead.
From what I can tell on the exemption criteria that we have, they meet 3 of the 4. And there's questions about the 4th one, which is if they're a 501c3.
And I did speak with the owner twice. And she emailed me back today, after I had sent the invoice with everything, which we kind of went over. Just so you understand, it's a student company, a student kind of leads it and does all the things to it. So I didn't know that when I was communicating, but later found out. But at the same time, the owner and I talked on Friday, and then we talked again, this week. And she was fine with everything. She just needed to understand, the costs. But I also, you know, in there it says if you have it, this is a nonprofit, that kind of thing, and none of that was done. So if they can prove differently, we can go about that, but I have not been given any of that stuff, and I have talked with you. And Lee.
Well, I guess where I'm going with it is if we're approving other organizations, such as the church, solely based on the 501c3, because we don't know if the majority of the participants are King William students. It can be debatable about the educational value depending on their home values. They meet 2 of the 4 criteria there, and we're approving it, making them pay for custodial, then I think we need to consider it.
So as long as, so our policy states that they have to provide a 501c, and that's what the previous director told me. So I'm looking at you, Heather, in case you know anything about this, Director of Finance, that she told me, and Tony, you and I were having that conversation with her too. When we did this last year, she said if they do not provide a 501c, that we cannot give it the discount. So they have to have it filed. and they prove that, which is, for instance, what that church did, and that's the only way we could give them a discount. So if they can prove that, then we will absolutely follow that, but we haven't been given that. So we're just kind of doing with what we have and what the conversations on the phone have been.
So if we have the exemptions, they have to meet all of them? Or, I mean,
We have to give it to a nonprofit, but these are the 4 criteria we have set
right.
to be approved. I don't see where that we have to give it to them based on the nonprofit, but as far as the 3 and the fact that it's being student led, I would support waiving the fee, however, paying for the custodians and shares. Because the majority of the participants are students, there's no admission, and this is what they're supporting.
Yeah, I say we just charge them for the custodian and the use of the chairs for the adult school event, and then approve the other 3.
Without them having a 501c.
Well, they three of the other 4.
Heather, do you know what, my question is that allowed? Because I don't know, I had to rely on finance, and Stacy was very clear that if you didn't have it, that we weren't giving it. So I don't know, I didn't know the policy.
It just sets a criteria that in the future, other groups could come in here and argue the same thing.
And that's what my
request to have it
concern
waived.
is we're treating one way, and it's no different that we'd be reaching out to that community. I just want us to be fair across the board.
Well, and that's my thought.
Can of worms is what I worry about.
And that's my thought, that if we're approving one based on one criteria, then someone else who's meeting 3 of the criteria, we're denying, and that isn't.
Are we really approving somebody based on one criteria though? The criteria,
Well, with the church, I mean, the other 3 criteria, you just don't know. The only one we know of for sure with the church is the 501c.
okay. I just want us to be sure that this is what we're gonna do. I agree, it's going to open a can of worms. There will be other organizations that'll come in and say, we don't have a 501(c)(3), we want the waiver.
Yeah,
Because we're gonna meet the other 3, we'll meet the other 3 criteria.
it will open the school division up to allow almost any commercial enterprise to use the facilities at no cost other than custodial fees.
But they would have to be part of the school system. But
They
that's
have
what
to
the
have
criteria.
51% of the participants must be students of King William County Public
But
Schools.
you could say that in rival Baptist church because they're in the community and it would be those people, so they could have more.
Well,
things.
So we could ask for
approve.
And
I just think it's hard either way to go, because I worry because I'm the one handling this, and some of the requests that we've gotten, that we've had, that y'all, we've talked to y'all, and y'all said, no, we're not doing that for funerals, for instance. I just worry that we're gonna go down a slippery slope by making exceptions, that's all. That's my only concern.
You feel strongly about this, somebody make a motion?
I mean, I wanted to be out of here by 7:30, so for the sake of our staff and everybody else, I will make a motion to approve the waiver of the fee if they provide a 301c, 501c. If not, then the motion will be that we charge them the facility use fee. And if we want to rewrite our policy at another time to narrow down the criteria and the specific requirements, we can do that as well.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We need a voice vote.
Aye. You want to,
We have 3 and 2.
So just
Abstain or you vote no?
I'm just thinking out.
Okay.
But I think we need to look at the policy and make it more specific, but in this case, just knowing the majority of the students and supporting the students, I don't know that I fully agree.
I mean,
So
I
I'm
don't
gonna say
either,
no.
but I just think for the sake of consistency.
I would like to support the students,
Right.
but I don't want to bend our policy. I think we need to
Right,
revise the policy.
To be more specific.
Can we do a roll call?
Well, Vina was the third.
I know, but just for the sake of record keeping.
and are you voting only on the
What, her motion?
advance at the moment?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll
We'll do 2 motions. So, okay, first, well, do you have a motion to approve the other facility usage form? Okay, never mind. I will make a motion to approve the other facility usage forms as presented.
Second.
So move them properly second to approve the remaining 3 as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, so that one is clear.
thank you. So if I'm understanding, Madam Chair, the motion for Dawn School of Dance is the motion for a fee waiver is conditional on providing for 501c3. And
That was me.
and do we want to establish it? Can you remind us of the date of that?
The 25th and 26th of April.
You want to have a because we won't see one another until May. So, but you want us to update you on progress toward that? Yeah, we can do that. Okay, and then Madam Chair, did you want to proceed with a roll call vote on that one? I think Ms. Catlett requested that.
Do you want a roll call vote?
We didn't hear from, yeah, but we still have one more that did not vote.
Good enough.
Okay. Got it.
Good.
I'm good if y'all are good.
Okay. All right. Can we move on?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next item on our agenda, this is 9, 10. School nutrition item. I think we have all the report. Did anybody have any questions about it?
I did not. Motion to approve the nutrition.
You don't need to, it's just public.
Okay. There, number 11 is an additional closed session if necessary. I don't think we need one. Number 12 is the personnel report and supplemental personnel report.
I make a motion to approve the personnel and supplemental report as presented.
Second.
So move the properly second, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. The personnel and supplemental personnel report are approved. Matters from the board, I believe, was there a motion? We should have had a motion on this.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, Madam Chair. If you don't mind, give me.
Okay, I'll do some other things. Does anybody have any other matters from the board? Okay, I have 2 things while he's getting ready. One, I would like to let the board know that the Kiwanis Club of the Tri-County, King William, and West Point, has been formed, and they're bringing in their signature project, something that I think is good for King William. They are bringing forth a Dolly Parton Imagination Library. We're in the process of fundraising and trying to get together so that we can do that. That will definitely help our literacy rates here in King William County Public Schools and in the West Point Public Schools. If we can get books in the hands of all of these little babies from 0 to 5, get them a book once a month. So I just wanted you to know that that's coming. that we're working on that. I have some information for you that on that. And also to let you know that the Kiwanis Club is having their chartering event on May the 9th. That's Friday, May the 9th at the Mattapony Reserve. The event is a dinner and a wine tasting kind of thing. And it'll be at 7 o'clock. It is $75, but they wanted me to invite all of you to come. It is also kind of a fundraiser for our projects. So I have information on that for you. We have that motion now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I make a motion for student number 52529 be long-term suspended through the end of the 2024-2025 school year with the opportunity to continue in a virtual program.
I second.
So move to properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. And Ms. Waldron will let the student and his family know.
Indeed so.
Okay. All right. So now we're up to public announcements. Anybody have public announcements?
Don't forget the May 8th Teacher of the Year retired. Oh, if you guys haven't already, let me know if you're coming.
May 8th.
I will be in attendance along with the chair of the Board of Supervisors.
Okay.
It's at what time?
It's at 6 and it's right here in this, we're doing the Teacher of the Year retiree, and then, if you remember the RISE Award candidate for the division, they are also here in representation.
Oh, be a busy night.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, other items is early release date is Friday, April 17th. Kindergarten registration is, I'm sorry, not Friday, Thursday. Early release day is Thursday, April 17th. Kindergarten registration is also Thursday, April 17th. Registration is at Cool Springs between 2 and 4:30.
I'm sorry, it's actually 2 to 6. I had the wrong time.
Okay, 2 to 6. 2 to 6.
2 to 6.
Okay. SEAC meeting will be on April 23rd here in the Hamilton Homes Cafeteria at 6 o'clock. The school division will be closed on Easter Monday, April 21st. Our school board will have a work session on May 5th here in the cafeteria at 6 p.m. And then our regular school board meeting for May will be May 20th with a closed session at 5 and open session at 6. That's all I have. Anybody else have anything else? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And the meeting is